Alright, so the main reason that we've come out here is to try and track down one of the largest species of crocodile in the world, the false gharial, that does call these little swamps out here in Wakanda River home. Now, it's gonna be a lot easier to catch him after dark, but we've been cruising up this river and spotting them in the reeds on the shallows. So I'm gonna get up the front of the boat, and if we spot one, we'll cut the engine, cruise up to it, and hopefully I can get a jump on one of these false gharial. Let's go. Just spotted the first false gharial of the day. Got him! Let's go! Look at that! We got one! That is super cool right there. One of the biggest species of crocodile on Earth, the false gharial. And the amazing thing about this and coming out to this river is no one really comes out here and researches these crocodiles. But it's actually estimated that there's only a few thousand mature crocodiles, false gharials, left out there in the wild, and they stretch all the way across Sumatra, here in Kalimantan, Malaysia. So obviously jumping on crocodiles is not something that you can really practice too often. But what I had to do was get him just behind the neck right here, because he's got 76 to 84 really sharp interlocking teeth. They kind of have the same snout as a freshwater crocodile back home. Now, you saw earlier in this video, we actually caught some salties out in the mangroves. Now, they have a much wider snout, and if they were to get a hold of you, a crocodile, even of this size, it can absolutely tear you open. And this guy could do a number on you as well. Mainly around this size, it'd be eating fish. When he gets bigger, feeding on things like proboscis monkeys when they cross the rivers. And then the biggest specimens, the 4-5 meter false gharial that would live out here in these rivers as well, have even been known to take down deer, orangutans, and sometimes even people over here in Indonesia. Okay, so the tide's coming up and I've just spotted the biggest stonefish, the world's most venomous fish that I've ever seen, sitting under this rock ledge right here. We gotta find him before the tide comes up. All right, got him. Take a look at that. That is the world's most venomous fish. In the coolest little place as well. Hey, big fella. So we came out here trying to catch some breakfast, looking for mud crabs. Now, believe it or not, stonefish are an edible species, but this guy's too big, he's too cool. I'm gonna let him go back under his rock ledge in a minute. When you get a stonefish of this size, you know it's been feeding well, and they're masters at hunting. You can see, look at the stomach on that fish right there. It's probably full of fish at the moment. Now, I filmed plenty of videos on stonefish before and said pretty much every fact about these animals. They're the world's most venomous fish, one of the fastest fish in the world. And when I say fastest, I mean when they're hunting, when they strike out and get their prey. Other than that, as you can see, they're a pretty slow moving animal. So from what we know, this king cobra right here is the largest king cobra in captivity here in Kalimantan. And just to show you that, although this is a captive snake, it still has massive venom glands that is packed full of one of the most toxic snake venoms on Earth. What we're gonna do is actually catch it and milk it on camera and show you this venom up close, see how much venom is inside those glands right now, and see what venom will be pumping into you if you're bitten by this snake out there in the wild, or even here in a controlled environment. So if you wanna grab it, Diaz, yeah?
You could do that.
Okay.
Okay. Badai.
Badai.
Badai. This name is Badai.
Badai.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Here we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna keep an eye out for the one behind you as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, check that out, guys.
Oh.
Wow. Pumping that cup full of venom straight away. First bite.
Wih.
Whew.
That's insane. So this venom right here is toxic enough to kill an elephant, and one drop of it is potent enough to kill 20 of us sitting here right now, which is just crazy. And they have a lot more than just one drop of venom in their venom glands. Maybe a baby one might have one drop, but that right there is enough to ruin many people's days.
Many people, yeah.
Many people.
Yeah, usually in one bite, they could deliver like 7 milliliters.
7 milliliters.
7 milliliters in one bite. It's like a one full of teaspoon.
Yeah.
In one bite. Imagine if they're chewing on you.
Yeah.
And then press the venom gland
It'd be,
fully.
Yeah,
It will be.
It's all over after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this snake that we're working with does have venom in those glands right there. So we still need to be very careful, because although it is a captive snake, there is an argument there saying that these ones could be more dangerous. You know, a wild one might come across a person once or twice in its lifetime, but these big snakes every single day, and you only have to be wrong once. So we're not gonna let that happen today.
Yeah.
You come a bit closer, Diaz, as well.
Yeah. You can do it.
So, yeah.
Wait.
Yo.
But yeah, this is
Hey,
the world's largest venomous snake, and this one right here is known to be a very aggressive animal. Now, believe it or not, the biggest captive king cobra here in Borneo, he's fixated on Diaz in front of me right now, but as soon as he tilts his head a bit, he recognizes that, hey, there's someone behind me. But if we come back in, and he's fixated again, we can do this. Picking up the king, the world's largest venomous snake, and a beautiful animal as well. But it's our last day here in Borneo, and we're not going to be doing anything too crazy. I say that while there's a giant king cobra in my hands, but we're going to put him down. Beautiful animal. Okay. All right, so we have just found the most venomous spider on earth. Now, if we just lift up this little piece of bark, I just spotted him under here. I don't know where he is right now. So I'm just being very careful, because we cannot afford to get bitten by this species of spider out here. Take a look at that right there. Look at that. If I just move this back, that is the Sydney funnel-web spider. Look at that, he's got red fangs. I've never seen that before with this species. It's crazy to think that this right here in front of me is arguably the most venomous spider in the world. And it's also crazy how common they are in this area of Sydney. Now, the reason why they're not considered to be the deadliest spider here in Australia is because the redback, which is much less venomous than this species, has actually killed more people over the years. But it's because of how common those redbacks are. Now, we found one earlier on in this video, but I would much rather get bitten by a redback than this spider sitting in front of us right here. Now, if we just touch him, you can see those huge fangs. And actually, if you look really closely, on that right fang, there's a drop of venom sitting on it. Just one of its fangs gently resting on that piece of wood right there. That is insane. Wow, what a cool find. Very intense moments when you're dealing with such deadly animals, hey. You gotta be onto it at all times. I think spiders are so amazing, such amazing creatures. But yeah, I'll be happy to let this guy go. All right. See you later, mate. So we've just spotted the species that we came out to this section of forest to find, and it is such a beautiful snake, a big female as well. I'm just gonna get out and pull the boat up here. You can get a look at this beautiful snake sitting on this stick right here. Take a look at that. That is an amazing animal. Get a close-up shot of this. Here, I'll bring the boat over. Look at that snake sitting on there, waiting for any birds to come and land on this little stick right here. And that has to be one of the most beautiful snakes I've ever seen. So We're just gonna gently work with this viper right now and pick it up. You're okay. You're okay. Come on. Look at that head. It looks like a dragon. Okay. Hey girl, this is an amazing animal. Take a look at that. Now, believe it or not, the male keeled pit vipers in the same family of snakes don't get nearly this big and nearly this impressive. This is a really big female, and she'd be out here in this forest hunting birds, little rats, mice, and I'm shaking right now because this is a venomous species of snake, and I don't recommend doing this. When it's injected, you know, it might only feel like a bee sting, but it's the days and the weeks after the fact that people have actually lost fingers. So not a species that I recommend picking up, but this big girl is absolutely chilling. Such a beautiful animal. Hey, you're okay. I've been told if you want these snakes to actually stay still, you want to support that tail, because they'll actually wrap that tail up. It'll make them feel more comfortable. Have a go at this down here. Could be the creepiest thing that I've ever seen. We will try to pick it up. You move out of the way, little fella. They're getting him. Okay. And ready? This thing is massive. Look at that. Such a weird animal to find out here, hey? Getting away from the ocean and actually coming up here and exploring the land, going to places that not many people actually get to film at. How crazy is that? Giant whip spider on my face in this little cave. Now, I'm actually terrified when it comes to spiders. Probably my least favorite animal, so it's cool to face of fear and put this big guy on my face. To be fair, it doesn't look like I'm afraid of spiders at all. Just like the snakes that we're looking for out here, this guy was out here hunting as well. You can see he's going for a bit of a move across my face right now. Just what I want. Now, the scary thing about them is that they've got those big pincers at the front there, but he'd be using them to catch little bugs and other species off the cave walls. We kind of interrupted his dinner. Creepy species to come across while we're out here filming this episode, but it's exactly what I wanted coming over here on this boat trip. Wanted a wild adventure, and so far we've got it, but we're gonna get him off my face, back onto this cave wall. So if you come over here. Perfect. So my hands are under this turtle right now, but being very careful because people have lost fingers and toes from catching this species, and he is so buried in the mud. Okay. Ready? Oh! Its head was right there. Take a look at this. This is a massive turtle. No way. Look at that animal. The soft shell turtle. Oh. Okay. That is literally as big as a sea turtle.
Oke. Oke. Oke, teman-teman, jadi
I did not think they got this big.
ini adalah labi-labi yang cukup besar dan ini monsternya nih. Cukup besar. Berapa beratnya? Kira-kira beratnya 30 kilo.
How much it weigh?
Yeah, how much?
Yes.
20 kilo, you think?
Mungkin 20 kilo.
20 kilo. Okay, yes.
It feels like it. One of the most epic animals we've found on this trip for sure. This trip has been filled with amazing animals, rare species, deadly species. And this guy right here, not only unique, having that soft shell and that awesome head up the front there, but dangerous too, because you could lose digits if you do this too often. And we're gonna get him back in the water.
Whoa!
Whoa! All right. See you
Okay.
later, mate.
Yeah. Okay.
So with roughly 20,000 people living within Komodo National Park and about 3,500 dragons left in the wild, surprisingly, attacks on humans are rarer than you'd think, but still occasionally happen. My friend Santi has been told a story from at least 3 different ranges of an attack involving 2 friends who took a small boat to Rincha Island, the same place where we filmed part 1 of this series. They were looking for honey in remote areas of this island, and at some point they decided to split up to cover more ground. While walking, one of them came across a massive dragon, and although he tried to move around it, he turned his back to this dragon for just a moment, and when he did, this dragon silently charged and attacked him. The man fought back, getting bitten multiple times, mostly around his legs. Because he was injured so badly, the man couldn't actually walk to safety, so they both decided that he should wait up a tree while his friend went and got help. 4 hours later, help arrived, and they found the man barely moving, with the dragon still waiting below the tree. He was rescued and taken to the nearest hospital, a journey that took around 7 hours from the initial attack. It's truly a miracle that he is alive. The man has since lost mobility, but he actually still lives in Komodo to this day. Big dragon out on the floodplains this morning. We're just walking with him right now, but you can tell the temperament of this dragon. You know, he's hungry. And see? Gotta be super careful.
Careful, watch your back.
Wow. Walking with dinosaurs right now. Now he'd be out on these floodplains, the sun's just coming up on the last morning out here on Komodo, and he'd be looking for a feed. You can see him, what he's doing, flicking that forked tongue out. And what he'll actually do is he's gathering scent particles on that tongue, and he puts it back in his mouth and touches something called a Jacobson's organ. And that will tell him which way his food is, which way potential prey is. You can see. He's proper chasing me right now. Absolutely insane. Being chased by a big dragon like this. Now they can run a lot faster than this, you know. If he wanted to have a real go at me, he'd try, but at the moment, just in that hunting state of mind, and we're just crawling alongside this Komodo right now. If I get close enough, he's definitely going to chomp into me with those giant teeth. And what they're known to do is to not bite and let go. They've got backwards facing teeth, which allow those teeth to really dig in. So if he got a grab of my leg right now, he would chew that venom in. And it's the same thing that happens to a buffalo out in the wild. You know, what would happen is after he bites that buffalo, he would wait, and he'd wait for 2 or 3 weeks for that buffalo to die, hanging around that area. And no doubt within that time, the other dragons would find out that a kill is about to become available. So he's changed, you can see. From looking for food, he's seen me moving, and it's a trigger response in their brain. You know, they'll chase you, and these are wild dragons. Not like the ones that are found closer to the village. They can actually run at about 20 kilometers an hour or 12 miles an hour. Luckily enough for me is I'm faster than that. The thing is, my cameraman might not be. So now the thing, if you're getting chased by a big dragon like this, you can remember that once they get to this size, they can't actually climb trees. When they're smaller, they are arboreal creatures, so they'll head straight up a tree and get away from a bigger dragon like this trying to eat them because they're cannibalistic. You're right, mate. You're right. They got crazy eyes, hey? Absolutely insane look in their eyes. So what we're doing right now is we've just entered this little stream that connects up to the biggest system out there. Now there would be crocodiles in here, so we're keeping our eyes out, but the main species that we're looking for is a species that we actually found out in this exact creek last time we were here. Boiga dendrophila?
Yeah.
Yeah, the mangrove cat snake. We're gonna keep our eyes out. They should be sitting up in the trees, sleeping throughout the day, and yeah, we'll see if we can get any on camera for you.
Ulang Pak, pura-pura melihat, hanya melihat. Ya, 1, 2, 3. Anggap dia depan situ, 1, 2, 3.
Directly above us in this little stream. I've got no idea if we're even going to be able to catch that one. What do you reckon?
I will.
You will?
Hold on. Wait. Liar. Hold on.
Take a look at this. Look at this snake right here. Wow. There is a story about a villager getting bitten by this snake and getting really sick. So we're going to be careful. We don't want to risk getting bitten by this species out here. But take a look at that. Look at that snake. Oh.
Lagi.
Wow. Look at that beautiful snake right there. The mangrove cat snake, Boiga dendrophila. Wow, what a beautiful species. Diaz, what would he be eating out here in the mangroves?
So, lots of species of birds, including the kingfisher.
Birds, kingfishers.
Yeah, birds.
The species that would eat this snake out here, there's a big species of eagle that hunts through the mangroves called a serpent eagle. And they're called that because they will actually hunt these boigas in these mangrove systems, and we saw one just before as we were cruising up here. The other species that would eat this guy when he's crossing the rivers at night, navigating his way through these systems, are gharials and crocodiles that do live in these rivers. I've been bitten by this species before over here in the jungles of Borneo, and if he was to latch onto me, you'd be fine if you got him off straight away. It's only when they actually chew in that venom that you can start to feel sick. But Diaz, you've been bitten by this snake for how long?
Many times.
40 minutes? Didn't you let one bite you?
Yeah, 40 minutes. It's just a challenge of a crazy young guy a long time ago.
That's what you
and
do.
then 2 of my friends go to the hospital because their hands are swollen. And then yeah, me and Heru was fine.
Sun's just coming out. Another beautiful day over here in Borneo. And what a cool mission this is going to be. Now, obviously, this isn't the target species that we're looking for. This video is going to be all about crocodiles and the different species that we can find here and in Wakanda River later on. But I'll never pass up the opportunity to film some beautiful mangrove cat snakes. I've never actually snorkeled with one of these big lungfish during the day before. But as I was flying over this deeper pool down here, there's heaps of fish sitting off this one big log in the river. And I saw a big lungfish about 5 minutes ago swim out from that log and go into this little cave-like area. We're gonna drift over in the kayak, see if we can spot any, and then get in the water itself. See if we can get up close to one of these big living fossils. Have a go at this. Are you kidding? Now this is gonna be perfect for night snorkeling later on. That is absolutely crazy under there. I did not expect to start the video like that. So I was swimming around, lots of other fish in the shallows, lots of big schools of mullet, and I came over this log and actually spotted a huge lungfish. This is a pretty good size one, sitting down on the bottom, blending into that log. And instead of sticking around the bottom, which these fish normally do, he fully swam up to the top of the water column and was cruising around the log. So cool to see in person. So the crazy thing about that fish that we just snorkeled with is over in Africa, those fish have been known to actually live for up to 5 years buried in the mud if there's major droughts. So what they'll actually do is they'll create little air holes to the top of the surface, bury themselves in the mud, and they'll sit there for up to 5 years. It's absolutely crazy. And I was thinking about it, that would be so terrible. Imagine sitting in mud for 5 years, not being able to do anything. I reckon after about 45 minutes, I'd be done. Seal the air hole back up. But yeah, it's crazy what some animals can do to survive. Absolutely amazing. And I'm so blessed. I feel so blessed that I'm able to be in its natural habitat with a living fossil. That thing we were just with, that exact creature, was swimming around in that same appearance hundreds of millions of years ago. And this river that we're in right now is also over 100 million years old. Like, are you kidding me? They're whiting, bro.
Yeah, guppies. They look like sharks. Yeah, exactly. That's absurd.
And this was it. After driving from Queensland down to Tasmania, then across to Port Lincoln, it was time to hop in the cage. And we hadn't actually seen any sharks yet. But as soon as we jumped in, the first white shark appeared, followed by another one. The thing about these sharks, right, because there's no barriers out there in the ocean, these great whites can be found off pretty much every country on Earth, besides the waters around Antarctica and the Arctic Ocean. So these sharks that we're seeing today are not actually resident sharks to the Neptune Islands, but it is a known area that some sharks will pass through and have been known to stay for days, weeks, and even months, feeding off these long-nosed fur seals before they keep moving on. I tell you what, you've definitely pulled a short straw in life if you're one of the 40,000 or more resident seals on these islands. But yeah, being this close to these big great white sharks was so amazing. One of the most incredible experiences that I've ever had. Take a look at the size of them. So we just spotted the first crocodile over here in Borneo, and it's a little salty. And he's just taking cover up in this little stream right here. Yeah, he's up the back there. Right, we're gonna jump out and try grab him. Little saltwater crocodile, how cool is this? Get a close-up shot of that. We'll stay still, and when he goes back down, then I can grab him. Look at that! Little saltwater crocodile. That is so cool. So this is the largest species of crocodile on Earth, the saltwater crocodile. We have them back over in Australia as well. The difference between the places that I filmed these crocs back in Australia and here is there's low densities of crocodiles that actually live here in these rivers over here in Borneo. I was happy when I spotted this big fella because he was just sitting at the mouth of this little river. Now, the reason being is because everything wants to eat this crocodile out here. Not only birds of prey, the big eagles that come through these mangroves, but also other crocodiles. When they're hunting, and even when this little croc right here would be hunting through the mangroves, what he'll do is he'll actually only put about 2 or 3% of his whole body mass above the surface of the water. So that's his eyes and his nose at the front there. And if he sees something like a little crab sitting on the bank and he wants to sneak up on it, he'll drop under, come back up a little bit closer to him, drop under again, and these animals can hold their breath for hours out here in the mangroves if they need to. And yeah, he'll go up and make a nice little meal of this crab. When they get a bit bigger, it gets a bit harder because they'll have to be taking down bigger animals. And the bigger crocodiles that live in this river have been known to eat things such as proboscis monkeys, orangutans, deer. And you know, as people start infringing on their waters, and it's bound to happen. I mean, people are bound to come into contact with crocodiles, especially when you're living in places when you rely off nature and the rivers that these crocodiles inhabit to survive yourself. Just being croc-wise and staying back from the water when you can, not going swimming in places where these crocodiles are, yeah, you'll be fine. You won't have to worry about getting attacked by this guy when he's about 4.5 meters bigger. All right, we'll get you back in the water, mate. Look at that. So cool. Take a look at the size of that snake. That is a scrub python, and that is the longest snake in Australia. So at this size, about 3 to 4 meters long, that would put this python in the range of being able to take down things like possums, paddy melons, but the biggest scrub pythons here in Australia do have the potential to take down wallabies and small kangaroos and eat them. Take a look at that, next to my arm right there. That is so cool. Now I think what we're gonna see in a minute is this snake actually climbing up one of these trees, and it's so impressive. Here we go. Take a look at that. So what he'll do is he'll wrap these coils up around the tree and propel himself up. Take a look at him. Wow, you can see that shimmer, and the reason why they get that name, amethystine python. Take a look at him. He's going after this, mate. So blessed to share this moment with the longest snake in Australia and the biggest scrub python that I've ever found. All right, see you, mate. We're gonna keep looking for one of your cousins, a bit smaller and a bit more green. We did it. Take a look at this. Walking up this creek right here, and look at what I see sitting on this branch. That is the species that we came out here to find. Take a look at that. That is amazing. This is not an easy species to find out here by any means, and I'm all the way up at the tip of Australia by myself, walking around the bush, and to see this snake in person tops it off for me, mate. How cool is that? So this has to be one of the most beautiful pythons that we have here in Australia, and we've got a lot of them. We've got diamond pythons, black-headed pythons, womas, but just the colors, those bright greens on this snake And if you actually look at this animal up close, look at it in the eyes, look at all those scales, it is incredible that this animal is just living out here, and it's not like any other species of python that we have here in Australia. So a green python of this size would be feeding on small mice, rats, birds, but since they're mainly nocturnal feeders, what will happen is they'll venture down from their treetop thrones up there in the canopy just on dusk, and they'll sit about a foot off the floor, and they'll sit there and they'll wait for little animals to run underneath them, loaded up in that striking position. So something cool is when this python was born, it was not that green color. It would have been a light yellow color, maybe even a slightly red color. And after a while, this green color starts to take them over, and it helps them camouflage from all sorts of predators out here. Because they're not a very big python, like that scrubby that we caught earlier, everything wants to eat them. How dare an animal try to eat you, mate? And I reckon this guy might be around 6 or 7 years old. I'm not too sure. They can live up over 15 years in the wild, and you can still get a lot bigger than this. But yeah, I reckon that might be it. We're off to find a 4-meter crocodile now, camp at a place that has these crocodiles overnight, and see if we can track one down. Wow, what a cool start to this adventure.